A nation was starving. The river had failed. Children cried in the streets. The elderly collapsed from hunger. And Egypt, the most powerful kingdom on earth, was running out of time. Then one man stepped forward with a solution. A brilliant advisor. A trusted servant of Pharaoh. A man who claimed he knew how to save the nation. Thousands of years later, another ancient text tells almost the exact same story. Another famine. Another pharaoh. Another advisor. Another nation saved. But here's the mystery. Are these two accounts describing the same event? Or has history hidden something in plain sight for over 4,000 years? Because carved into a broken stone in southern Egypt is a story that refuses to disappear. And the deeper we look, the stranger it becomes. Welcome to Unearthed Bible Discovery, where Bible meets reality and truths. Please subscribe, like, share, comment. I will really appreciate your support. Far south along the Nile, near the first cataract, sits a rocky island called Sihel. To most visitors, it's just another ancient site. But etched into one massive granite boulder is a message from the distant past. Today it's known as the Famine Stela. Its inscription tells of a disaster, so severe that Egypt nearly collapsed. For 7 years, the Nile failed to flood. No flood meant no crops. No crops meant no food. And no food meant chaos. The text describes a kingdom gripped by despair. Temples abandoned. Storehouses empty. Families starving. Egypt was dying. But then a remarkable figure enters the story. And that's where our mystery truly begins. His name was Imhotep, advisor to Pharaoh Djoser. Architect. Scholar. One of the most respected men in Egyptian history. According to the Stela, Pharaoh turns to Imhotep for answers. How do you stop a famine when the river itself has vanished? Imhotep searches for the cause. His conclusion? The gods are angry. Specifically Khnum, the guardian of the Nile's source. The god's temple had been neglected. The kingdom had forgotten its obligations. So Pharaoh acts. Land is granted. Offerings are restored. The priests are rewarded. And then something extraordinary happens. The Nile returns. The famine ends. Egypt survives. Case closed? Not quite. Because when modern scholars examine the inscription, they uncovered a twist no one expected. The stela isn't from Imhotep's time. It isn't even from Djoser's time. The inscription was carved more than 2,000 years after the events it describes. Think about that. A story about an ancient famine, written by people living centuries later. Immediately, questions emerge. Was the famine real? Was it exaggerated? Was it political propaganda designed to enrich temple priests? Many Egyptologists think that's exactly what happened. And honestly, it's a fair question. But then another ancient document enters the investigation. One that contains a remarkably familiar story. Open the book of Genesis. Suddenly another pharaoh appears. Another crisis emerges. Another 7-year famine is predicted. And once again, a brilliant advisor stands beside the throne. His name is Joseph. Unlike Imhotep, Joseph isn't Egyptian. He's a foreign prisoner. But after interpreting Pharaoh's troubling dreams, he rises to become second in command of Egypt. His strategy is simple. Store grain during years of abundance. Prepare before disaster strikes. When famine arrives, Egypt survives. People travel from distant lands searching for food. Even Joseph's own brothers journey to Egypt because only Egypt has bread. 2 stories. 2 advisors. 2 pharaohs. 2 7-year famines. The similarities are impossible to ignore. But are they connected? Here's where the mystery takes another turn. Some have suggested that Joseph and Imhotep were actually the same person. It's an intriguing idea, but history creates a problem. A very big one. Djoser ruled roughly 1,000 years before the period where Joseph is usually placed. The timelines don't match, and the evidence simply isn't there. So no, the Famine Stela does not prove Joseph existed, and it does not prove Genesis happened exactly as written. But that doesn't mean the stone is irrelevant. In fact, what it reveals may be even more important, because both accounts emerge from the same world. A world completely dependent on the Nile. A world where a failed flood could destroy an empire. A world where grain management wasn't just administration. It was survival. The Bible didn't invent that reality. Egypt lived it, generation after generation. And the Famine Stela preserves a memory of just how terrifying that reality could be. So what has this broken stone actually given us? Not proof. Not certainty. Something far more valuable. Context. The stela confirms that catastrophic famines were deeply embedded in Egypt's memory. It confirms that powerful advisors were trusted to rescue nations during times of crisis. And it confirms that the fear of a 7-year disaster was real enough to be remembered for centuries. Maybe the stories aren't the same, maybe they never were, but they grew from the same river, the same civilization, the same struggle against hunger, drought, and uncertainty. One story was carved into stone, the other was written onto parchment, yet both survived, and both continue asking the same question. What happens when an entire nation runs out of time? Perhaps we'll never know exactly what happened during Egypt's forgotten famines. But every excavation uncovers another clue, and every ancient inscription brings us one step closer. If you enjoy uncovering the mysteries hidden between archaeology and the Bible, subscribe to Unearthed Bible Discovery, because the next stone we examine may rewrite another chapter of history. Which part of this story surprised you the most? Please comment and let me know your thoughts. Please subscribe, like, comment, and share to spread this great history.